Hello, everybody. Hope you're all well, and welcome to the wonderful Lauren Bradley from The Officials, which is jointheofficials.com. For those of us that are just joining, welcome. Please come and say hello in the chat box. I can see that people are joining us already from all around the world. We've got people in Australia. We've got people from New York.
Oh my God.
Logging in. We've got someone from Surbiton. I'm in the City of London today in the office here in central London. Whereabouts are you? Whereabouts are you, Lauren?
I'm not far from you. I'm in Sutton, just south of Wimbledon in London.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So
can you hear me okay? I don't have my microphone because my husband stole it.
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly. I can hear you perfectly. And if everyone can just say in the chat whether they can hear us, that would be great as well. So yeah, we're all good to go. So Lauren and I have been chatting now for about 4 or 5 months, and
a couple months now.
Yeah, we've kind of got to know each other over the course of this pandemic. I hate using that kind of phrase, but we've got to know each other, and our interests are very much aligned in terms of helping our community. Yeah. And Lauren and I have done lots of bits and pieces together and been on kind of different guest shows and what have you. And I've always been really impressed with the way that Lauren presents herself and the kind of straight talking advice that she gives. So I've been particularly excited to get Lauren on the Business Support Network, and I know that Lauren's excited to be here. And today she's going to talk to us about creating influence and having that voice that is heard, and somebody who kind of garners respect and kind of gives people's voices the confidence to go to leadership teams and what have you. So I'm going to let Lauren do her introduction. I know that she's happy to answer some questions at the end. So I will pass over to Lauren, because as everyone knows, this is never about me. It's all about our guests. So pleasure to have you on board, Lauren. Thank you for your time in advance.
Of course, of course. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen really quickly. Can I do that?
Yes, you should be able to. Let me check. If not, I can. Where are you?
You just have to maybe make me the host.
Yeah, I'm going to do that now. Right, that's done.
All right, just getting all my chat boxes. So everyone, I have a monitor over here. So if you see me looking over here, it's because I have a tiny, tiny screen that's only 13 inches. And I have a big 27-inch monitor over here that I could not live without. Hi, Dana. Hi, see. Hi. And so you'll see me looking over here for the chat and everything. Isn't it a good background? I played with it the other day. Okay, so now I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see what I see. Let's see. Can you guys see? Oh, I got to admit some people. Can you see my screen? Can you see my presentation? All good in the hood? Okay, cool. Okay, so why don't we get started? First, I'm going to tell you, or I want you to tell me, say hi in the chat, which you've already been doing, but tell me what you're kind of hoping to learn today. Why were you drawn to this presentation? Was it just BSN's always coming out with great stuff? Is it you know who I am? Is it that you feel you need a bit more confidence and influence? So put it in the chat, please. You guys might hear some birds and stuff. We have those, what are they called? What are they called? Kingston parakeets or whatever. We have those that have now gone, so many pet parakeets went out rogue, and now they're actually are growing in population. There's a ton that live in a tree right outside my house. Oh, hi, Farzana. Hi, great that you're here. Okay, how to be confident in speaking to high power individuals. Definitely need more confidence. Okay, so this is something I see all the time. And I don't know if Paul could back me up on this, but every time I talk to an assistant, no matter how confident they appear, every single person I've ever mentored, spoken with, it always comes back to confidence, because it doesn't take a lot, even for the most confident person, it doesn't take a lot to knock us. And one thing that knocked us big time was COVID and making us all suddenly separate from our executives, where, you know, we used to just pop into the room with them if someone walked in, have a conversation, be included in everything. Now conversations are happening without us. Is this happening to anyone? They're struggling with bothering their executive because someone that they normally get on with, because now they don't want to interrupt them. Maybe they know, I know someone that said, like, I know my executive has kids in their home and I'm trying to help with all that. And it's just, I don't want to interrupt them. So now they're kind of on the back foot. So even if we're the most confident person in the world, we're very siloed in our roles. And if someone isn't constantly cheerleading for us or understanding it, we can take a knock pretty hard. And something like coronavirus, being separated from our team and those physical cues from our team can just knock you silly, right? So that's why we're talking about this today. In general, it's an issue that plagues our industry already. I don't know if anyone kind of feels that as assistants. I mean, even our title is a bit subservient, right? So we're already set up to be on that back foot. We're already set up to question our role in general, massively. Oh, some of the screen is cut off. Can you see it now? Thank you for saying that. There we go. Sorry. Some of my screen was, I pushed it to the side. So as I was saying, okay, so being an assistant in general is already a deferential name that we're helping somebody else achieve their goals, right? And so it can be a interesting dilemma to have as an assistant, to wonder where our place is, when we should interrupt. Does our executive think we're someone that should be interrupting? Right? Okay, so let me see what a few of you are saying here. Let me just go back and see. Okay, so hi, Farzana. Okay, Debbie says, how to be confident in speaking to high bosses? Just admitting a few people. Definitely more confidence. I know you, Lauren. Hi, Ava. Ava Maria. Great session today. Okay. Oh, you're so sweet. Felicity, more confidence and influence, would like to be better at getting my opinions across. Definitely need some influential insight. Definitely more insight on how to be influential, some new ideas. Fantastic. Okay, so this really is so common in every single person that I speak with, including myself. I have to give myself pep talks and affirmations constantly. And in fact, I'm going to send Paul a link. I just want to make sure, I know I'm going to do it, but I have some affirmations for you to say to yourself to help you with your influence. But let me tell you more about who I am and why the hell I'm talking to you, and if you're new to me. So who here is new to me? Maybe. Put that in the chat for me, please, so I can see who's new to me. Okay. So my name is Lauren Bradley. I'm the founder of The Officials at jointheofficials.com. And I have been an assistant. I actually thought I'd been an assistant for over a decade, but I totally forgot. I was an assistant for 2 years in grad school. So I've actually been an assistant for over 15 years. I totally forgot about that, which is crazy. I only remembered the other day, and that was like a real lesson in a lot of the things that I do and how to get it right, even if it takes you a slower amount of time. And it was wonderful. I digress. But I'm the founder of The Officials, where I essentially release a new training course every single month for our members. It's a membership site. We have an amazing community who are really supportive. There's a few officials in here right now, which is so wonderful. Oh, I'm loving how many new people are here. Oh, fantastic. Okay. And so basically it started because I started my career in London. So I'm actually in London. I don't know if you know this, but I don't sound like I'm from London. I'm originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm actually an American and a British citizen now. And my husband is from Kent, and we met on MySpace while I was living in Pittsburgh, getting kind of sick of my job. And I came here and my CV didn't translate very well. I thought, oh, I'll temp. I've just never not worked since I was flipping pancakes at Denny's and being a waitress when I was 15. And I fell in love with it because this is, I mean, I was prepared my whole life to help inspire others, help them reach their goals, And that was really something that just resonated with me. And for a while, I thought I was going to be more than an assistant. I was going to be head of marketing, head of sales, which I did become. And I realized I hated it. I didn't like it. What I liked was all the recognition I got for buying the birthday cake that I didn't spend any money on, or just helping someone, giving them advice, making sure that they got all the things they needed, that I was speaking in the boardroom that I was supposed to be taking minutes in. I couldn't stop myself, right? I could not stop myself from trying to influence what was going on around me. And I found that being an assistant is actually a really, really great place to do that. But I was always so alone. And so when I moved to New York for a few years with my husband, there was just no real community there. There still isn't that much of a community there. And I started The Officials, had a horrible name then. It was just a Facebook group, just like BSN. And it grew and grew. And it ended up that I had this eclectic mix of experience. I've been a VA. I am a VA. I'm a private PA for high net worth individuals. I have been an office manager. I have been the executive assistant to the youngest female CEO of a £100 million company in the UK, £100 million plus. I have done everything. And I temped for a year. So I did everything under the sun there as well. And so I just turned out that I knew more, and I was learning from everyone else, and it was really all about shared knowledge. And so it became mentoring, and then it became, well, everyone's asking the same questions, mostly about confidence and influence. And so let's bottle this. And that's how I started creating all these courses every month. So that's a little bit about me. I also won a little award. I'm not going to get into it because it's kind of weird and embarrassing to talk about, but I'm really proud of it. So I'm just going to mention that. But let's now crack into it. So that's just, I want to tell you why this is important to me as an assistant for 15 years who's been so alone in my roles. I was always the only assistant for 8 years of my career until I hired people. Does anyone else have that? Is anyone a solo admin or assistant in their company? Please put that in the chat. I'm going to pay attention. Or do you feel quite siloed, even though there are people there? Maybe especially with coronavirus now and lockdown and things, it can be a bit insecure. But I love that you guys came to BSN, that you found a network. Incredible. I love all these networks. We all work together. That's one of the cool things about our industry. Okay, so some of the things we're going to cover is, we're going to cover different topics, but this is what it's going to include. And I want you to remember that what I'm teaching you today is going to help you with these things. So we are going to define influence, because I think that's really important to actually understand how we're going to define it for the context of this session. And I'm going to show you the influence formula. We're going to talk about how do you build confidence, how do you combat imposter syndrome, and then how is this all going to garner trust and wield influence for you, and then what do you actually do with that influence when you have it. So I would like to see in the chat, you guys tell me maybe something you would actually like to influence. It might not be a specific idea. It might be, I want to have, I'm taking minutes in the boardroom and I want to be able to have my voice. I want to maybe change the narrative that you've set up for yourself, which is something a lot of us assistants do. Is we come in. Anyone been there? You come in, get hired, and go, oh, I can do that. I could do anything, because you just want to impress. And then you're now trying to keep up with this perfection that is not attainable. And also you've become this deferential person that I can do anything and I will work all hours for you. And that's what I'm supposed to do, because you never set up a narrative that says, I'm human, I make mistakes, I have a family, I have other obligations. And so it's understanding what you want out of your life and being able to project that out in just everything that you do and how you set that narrative. Has anyone kind of been there? I have been there. I fought against that for a really long time. And these are the steps that I did. This is the proven method for me that really did this for me. And I know for a fact that it's helped some of my mentees negotiate for more money, get raises, just feel more confident in general. And it's all because it took years. It did, because it's not intuitive sometimes to break against that. Even at home, you might be the most influential person in a certain area of your life, but here in front of your executive, you're suddenly conforming and shrinking and bending and doing all these things to please other people, right? So they can feel more, we make ourselves less. Does anyone feel that way? Okay, let me see what you've said really quickly. So Hi, I was one time unemployed at the moment, feel alone now at home. Yeah. Yes, the only solo EA. Yeah. Mary. Oh, hi, Marianne. Hi. I have systems including our company website, team member value. Awesome. Feel in the shadow at home rather than at work. They come to us for everything. They do. And we love that, right? We love that they come to us for everything. We kind of thrive on that, but we get hit so hard mentally when we can't if we're not managing expectations well. So forget about boundaries. I think that kind of has a negative connotation, but if you're managing expectations in everything that you do and you being your authentic self, like talking about your children, talking about who you have plans tonight, saying that to your boss when they send you an email at 7 p.m. that you know is not urgent. Those types of things of just being yourself can be really hard when we've already set up this other narrative. And in fact, has anyone ever done this where you change the narrative really quickly and you say no, and all of a sudden everyone thinks you're a massive a-hole? Sorry if anyone has kids. I swear a little bit. But does anyone feel that way? Has anyone had that before where they've suddenly put their foot down and then all of a sudden you make an enemy? Or someone's like, I don't even know you, because you've suddenly changed. So let's talk about okay, so just going back quickly to saying, well, what would you like if you did have that confidence, that influence in your, even in your personal life, what would you like to change? So put those in the comments and I'll read those in a bit. Yes, at times when juggling a lot of balls and then being asked to take one more and it's probably on fire. And if saying no, then they look aghast. Exactly. I did after my boss would continue abrupt and nasty, but it didn't go down well. Exactly, because suddenly we're doing an about face. You ever have a fight with like your partner and they say something and you're just like, who are you? This goes against everything. It's almost like that's what they get from us when we suddenly say no, when we should have been managing those expectations all along. And there's ways to claw that back. It takes time. So let's define influence here. So influence is one's ability to motivate and inspire others, sorry, see, we make mistakes, to make important change. Okay, so this means once you have this formula that we're going to talk about next, you can then motivate and inspire others. And I bet you do this already. Do you feel that you do have some do you ever motivate others or make them feel inspired? Do people come to you as almost like, I know when I was, especially an office manager, I was an office manager at a startup. I was the only admin. I took care of 120 people. I was the nurse, the cruise ship director, the confidant, the therapist, pharmacist. They would come to me with their symptoms and ask me what to get. Like, it was crazy, right? And so, but I loved that. I loved feeling so needed and feeling a purpose, being go-to person. So it's a fine line of balancing that. But if you have that, if you have people coming to you as a go-to person, then you already have the foundation to be influential. This is why assistants are so perfectly placed to be influential, whether you know it yet or are taking advantage of it yet or not. Okay, here's the formula. Super easy. It's not a real secret. It's nothing big. Sounds all crazy, the influence formula. But I just call it that so you remember it. If we want to come up with little catchy names so you think, okay, am I using my influence formula? So essentially, you have to have confidence and trust. Okay, so some of you, tell me what you have. Tell me if this is a 50-50 bucket, 50-50, 2 buckets. Where are you in confidence and where are you in trust? This is a safe space. So what happens here stays here, right? Chatham House rules, right? So if you it shouldn't actually be a 50-50 bucket. Forget that. It's 100% bucket on both sides. So are you 70% confident and feel like you have 20% trust because you're new? Are you 20% confident but feel like you have 95% trust, maybe 90 because you messed up a few times because you've said yes too many times? Like, if you have these 2 meters, where are you? Please put these in the chat. Where are you with this confidence bucket and this trust bucket, these wells that you have to build influence? So confidence is the belief in your own abilities. It's interesting because imposter syndrome is the inability to understand and take in your own, understand your own achievements, which actually in its own definition means you have achievements. So we're going to get to imposter syndrome in a minute. Okay, so we've got someone here that says 30% on confidence, 70% on trust. Somebody else is 35% confidence, 95% trust. Okay, so great. This is what it comes down to. This is all personal work, okay? This is what you can control, which is amazing. I have 50% confidence and 70 in trust, lower in the ladder due to one boss's ability to make me feel intimidated and not worthy. And they ain't even worth your time. Someone that makes anyone feel that way is someone to not be feared, to not let control you, to not, there's work to be done there on how to separate what they say and have that be more about them than it ever is about you. And I'm going to tell you this right now. That has nothing to do with you. Everyone say it. Everyone say it. What anyone says about you makes you feel small, makes you feel little. Type it in. It's more about them than it is about me. It has nothing to do with you. And I want you to take that. I want you to take that, Debbie, and take all of us commenting. I'm going to type it in right now myself. I want you to take the power of that and take it with you when you leave here today. It's more about them than it is about you. And it would be great if everyone else typed that, because then that shows we're all behind her and behind each other, right? Okay, 70% confident, 30% trust. Okay, it might be that you're new. It might be that you messed up a couple of times. Maybe, you know, it may be that you took on a task that you weren't qualified to take on because we just want to say yes. Job hunting knocks your confidence big time. I know. 95% confident. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Dana. Thank you, Felicity. Mitchell or Michelle? I want to get it right. Sorry, so people in there. So just want you to know, it has nothing to do with you. And the more people that tell you that and show you they take power from it, take power away from those people, the more you're going to learn. Okay. Oh, I love this. Look how many people are saying it. You guys are awesome. You're awesome. I want you to remember this. Okay. So confidence is your belief in your own abilities. Trust is how reliable, honest, and skilled you are, which is going to build this consistent view that you are a safe pair of hands. That doesn't mean you have to do everything at all. Doesn't mean that at all. It means that they can trust you to get something done when you say you're going to do it. And it might be that you say, I'm not going to get that done because I cannot do it. Here's when I can do it. Does that work for you? Or do you have to rejuggle your priorities with your boss? Little pro tip, or not pro tip, practical tip, schedule everything. So when somebody asks you, can you take care of this? You can literally turn your monitor, if it's your boss, and say, I've got all this to do this week. I can do it on Monday. Does that work for you? No. How urgent is this? And you can then triage the task that's coming in, and it will help you. Do you ever feel like you're so busy at the end of the day, you don't even know how to articulate that? Like does anyone do a done list? Like you write things in your list that you've already done just because you need to see it to remember what you did and know what you've done for the day and your accomplishments. And I feel like if we don't schedule everything, at least for me, then I have a really hard time articulating to somebody else why I don't have time to take care of something. And I don't say no. I say the non-yes, which is I can do that here. Or if you bring me more information, I'll be happy to take care of that, but I need this from you. I never say no, but I don't say yes either. Okay, just gonna look at your comments real quick. I used to say, when do you need that by? And then tell them when you can have it done by to manage expectations. Fantastic. Yes. A to-do list and what I have completed. Yes. Okay. Fantastic. I learned the hard way. Was very much a yes person. Me too. When younger, and it backfired. Me too. I learned to ensure I can deliver and keep others informed of if a delay. Exactly. And own it. Right. Chopik is on fire today. It really is. I'm loving it. I'm very interactive. I need you guys to speak to me because I'm seriously in a guest bedroom in my house, which is my office. And I'm just talking to a little green light on my computer. So if I don't see this, I don't know. I start to lose the plot. Just start looking off into space. I need you guys to talk to me. So this is brilliant. Okay. So what do we do with this influence? Once we have this confidence, so how do we build the confidence? How do we build the trust? And then once we get this influence, which many of you may have from some of these percentages I'm seeing, you're well on your way to having this influence. What do we do with it? How do we motivate and inspire others to make important change, right? Okay, so we're gonna start with confidence. We're gonna talk about how How do you gain confidence? Especially as an adult, it's very hard. Apologies, typos above. Sorry, folks, was rushing. You know what? If any of you want to follow me on Instagram and feel better about your own typing abilities, oh goodness, I wrote it. I just realized when I typed it in, I sent it to Dana privately and no one else. See, we all make mistakes. And I'm going to put in here, if you guys don't follow on Instagram and you want to see 1 million typos a day, just go on over and follow me there, because now because nobody listens to, 80% of people don't listen to the sound on their phone. So whenever you do an Insta story, you have to type it out. I'm just too impatient. I just want it out there. And you know what? I know my audience and I know they'll forgive me, but my eyes are incapable of seeing typos until 48 hours later, typically. Okay, so let's talk about how do you gain this confidence. One, start with level the field. We are all, I say this all the time. It's in so many of my courses. I don't know if Dana has seen this yet or if Farzana has seen this yet, but I cannot express enough that we are all human and therefore we are all peers. I want you guys to type that in the chat today, is that we are all human, therefore we are all equal. We are all peers. There is no one that is more important or less important than you, has the exact same human rights as you, should be respected and treated equally as you. There's no one. That boss that you feel intimidated by is someone else's neighbor who watches him or her mow their lawn in shorts that are too short. That's the analogy I always like to use, because I knew someone who was like, oh, Jeffrey who wears shorts that are way too short when they mow their lawn. Someone that's intimidating to you is someone that has no power to somebody else. The truth is we give them that power. We're taught that. It's not all our fault. We're taught that in social cues and societal cues and the culture being here. Are there any men assistants in here today? If so, raise your hand. Because this is, I'm going to just speak quickly to the women here, which a majority of assistants are, in that we are, let's face it, we are conditioned to be subservient. We are conditioned to be less. Am I going off? I'm sorry, don't want to go on to this, men versus women or whatever. But there is something, especially about women, that we are already, again, on that back foot. We're already one step down, that we're fighting against this conditioning that society has given us in every picture. Every shampoo bottle that costs 2 pounds more than a man's shampoo bottle, all of that makes us feel inadequate, not equal. Okay, so we have to do this self-work. And one of the ways you can do it is by following people that boost your confidence, that tell you your worth. So if you're on social media, use it for positive. I don't know, is anyone watching The Social Dilemma on Netflix? Has anyone seen that? Oh my God, it makes you just want to cancel the internet. But I believe in humans. I believe humans are fundamentally amazing people and that they will correct these things, which is why The Social Dilemma is a great documentary on Netflix. It's awesome. Write it down, go watch it, and then be scared for a while, and then follow positive people that tell you that you are worth something, that you have value, that know that they themselves have value, and shout about it and say it all the time. I know this sounds so American. I'm sorry. I know this sounds like very American to be like, we're awesome, but it's true. It's true. You are an amazing human being just by being born. Ricky Gervais talks about this all the time in his shows. Is like the math of being born and fighting all the odds of just being alive, and then each year leveling up on your birthday is an incredible thing. You have value in this world. Let's start living it and living the life you want, right? It's an important program to watch. It so is. Do you know, Lauren, lockdown has taught me a lot, and I'm changing how I think and what I do. Yes, and this happened to me. Just so you guys all know, I was always making myself less. I still catch myself making myself less so that others can feel more. There's this lie that you have to be less so that others can feel more, but actually, we can be more, we can feel more, we can get accolades and recognition and talk about our accomplishments and make space for ourselves and set boundaries, and the other people around us all feel more together. In fact, that is what happens. That's the real truth, is when you feel more and are more you and more authentic, so will the people around you be. The way You'll be able to support them better. Does anyone understand kind of what I'm saying about that less and more? That one's really important to me. Really important that you understand that. You need to be more. This world is waiting for you to be more, because then it's just going to have a knock-on effect. It's this beautiful sort of, what's the word? Synergy. I hate that word. It's such a corporate word, but it's true. The synergy that as we grow, everything gets better around us. It does. Okay, so how do we change this narrative, right? Because I was someone that had to change this narrative. And I made the decision. So someone said here that they made this decision during lockdown, or they started to change this mindset during lockdown. Has anyone else had these sort of mindset shifts during lockdown? But I went into a role, and it's easier. I'm going to say this right now. It's much easier to do when you're changing roles. It's harder to do in the middle of a role and try and claim it back, but it's not impossible at all. But it is harder because when you do it cold turkey, they think you're crazy. They're like, who are you? Why are you so mean all of a sudden? Why are you being difficult? But there are ways you can do that, and that's what we're going to talk about. But it is easier when you're changing roles. And I was changing roles, and I was starting as a private PA for a high net worth individual, which can be very intimidating. Can you imagine? This person has squillions, right? And I'm like, I don't know how to act around this person. I've never really dealt with anyone that has this much money, and I don't really know what it's like to be a private PA. But it was even before I went into the interview, and this is where this process really needs to start. It needs to start from the moment they call you on the phone. Is I decided, you know what? I'm human. They're human. They have no power over me. I'm coming in as a team member. Okay. Does anyone here already feel that? Do they feel they come in as a team member where they are? Do they feel like if there was this executive team, or wherever you support, maybe you guys don't all support an executive team. If you guys don't feel like EA to executive team is your title here, maybe put it in here so I can get some context. But I did. Okay, so you feel like a team. And I'm really lucky because I actually went to a role where I won that award because I was so in my flow. I was so in my element. The people were so supportive that helped me make this mindset shift. And it happened after I left that place, which is amazing. But it happened from their support and the way they helped me change that mindset. But I went into that interview just being like, I go into interviews now saying, okay, you have an issue. You have a problem. I might not be the person that solves that problem. I could be. But if I'm not, I want to help you solve that problem. I am a problem solver. We are told that assistants are not classed as being part of the business. That's in the company you're in right now? Oh, no. Do they have an L&D department? Can I speak with them? Can we get introduced? How big is this company? Oh, no. No. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything about that overly. We're not going to mention any of that, but maybe you message me. hello@jointheofficials.com. We talk about that. Okay. So one thing is about making sure you're surrounding yourself with the right people. It is a tough time right now, but you have to make a decision. Do you want to be in a place where people talk that way? Do you feel you can claw that power back? Or do you feel that someone is going to be the way they are? I want you to think about that as we go through this, okay? But just know that everyone in here 100% supports you and knows that is not true. You know that's not true, but we just want to say it again. That is not true. And you know it, and we know it. So I'm so sorry about that. I can't believe this kind of stuff still happens. It's crazy. Okay. That threw me off track. I don't even remember what I was talking about, but I'll just go to change the narrative now. Okay, so let's talk about change the narrative. I was told that being a key part of being an assistant is not to be ambitious. Oh, God. This is so disgusting. You could do better, much better, and you deserve better. Oh, this is where I changed my narrative. I actually was never treated that way. In the beginning, I was treated that way a little bit because I had that narrative. I was treated that way afterwards. I wrote a blog about how I had some horrible harassment at a company, and they treated everyone horribly. And it was such a shocker to me that I landed in that position after having such an amazing job and how much it knocked my confidence. But you know what it did? It made me start the officials. It made me go, what do I really want? And it made me really appreciate what I have. So even though this is happening to you now, you're going to teach others that it is not acceptable. And what you do from here, from this point today, with that, and what decisions you make based on that from here point out will help define and show others the path. So this helped me having this wonderful job. I was really lucky. I had a really wonderful job, really wonderful. And I said, I'm going to go in as a team member. And I walked in there and I solved her problem. And I said, okay, tell me what you've got going on. And I just acted as if I was a consultant. It's all mindset shift. If you think about your own work, does anyone else do this where you think about yourself as your own company and you provide assistant services? Has anyone done this before? I do this all the time. I actually have an article on this on my blog about how you treat yourself as a startup and go, okay, everyone around you that give you a good or bad review is my customer, right? And so, but I can choose how much energy I put into them because I am a human being first. I am me first. What is that song by Demi Lovato, Confident? She says, why am I always looking for a ride or die when I'm the only one I'm going to have for life? I know it's a really interesting lyric, but it's so true. It's such a good song, and it's on our officials hype playlist for a purpose, because I'm like sitting here like getting pumped up and I'm writing these presentations for you guys because I have to remember this myself. It's an intimidating world. There's people out there that can still intimidate you, and I have to tell myself that I am me first. I got to take care of me first before I can take care of anybody else, right? So the decisions you make are going to be really important there, and that's what I decided. So I came in there and said, okay, I'm going to provide a service here. Either I'm going to help her solve her problem by saying I'm the best solution, or I'm going to say, you know what, this isn't in my wheelhouse, but I know someone. And I want to make sure the person I put in there, and I do this all the time with members of the officials, just people I meet in my network. I connect people all the time. I have a call this week with someone who's looking for someone. And so that's how I go in. That's how I change the narrative. Instead of going into an interview and waiting for them to speak to me and ask me questions and then hoping I get the right answer and then thinking the whole time, am I saying the thing they want me to say? What do they want me to say? Forget that. You say the thing you want to say as if it was your own business. You're trying to solve a problem for them. This is your services. How would you come in and solve the problem for them? If it's not the right answer for them, you should never work for them anyway, because it wouldn't work out. If you're trying to guess what they're going to come up with, then you're now already becoming less. You're already contributing to the narrative that you can conform to them. Instead of being awesome and being hired to be you, which is your superpower, and being wonderful at your job and coming in and killing it. You're already setting that narrative that you are conforming, right? And we all compromise, that's different, but it's this base level mental understanding within ourselves. So usually it is our own fears and mindset that prevent us from doing something we want to do or from being someone we want to be. That's the ultimate thing here. And it's all in these little ways. And one thing I teach in our Getting the Job course is that when I go into an interview, I look for any reason to make that person human to me and make me human to them. You can't really comment on people's clothes, but I'll talk about their shoes. I'll be like, oh my God, their shoes are awesome. Or this office is so incredible. Did you have any part in designing this? Or if they have a picture in their office, I'll be like, oh, you have a dog? You know, I'll do anything to break that like wall down of like, I know this is an interview. I know I need this job, especially sometimes you need that job usually, whether you're trying to leave a really crappy job, but it's something that not only breaks the ice, but makes them see you as human. So that's exactly right. It's breaking the ice and it makes you see them as human. You have a little laugh, you have a little talk, you make yourself someone they want to hire because you're you, because you're just being you. So I always look for that just on the walk to the interview or when I'm in there, I'll ask them. So they said, do you have any question? Like, how long have you been here? Why do you like it here? Why have you stayed as long as you have? I'll ask that to executives. They love talking about themselves. And so I'm setting the narrative that I want to know more about them. And then I can play off of anything they say to make it, oh, really? I know someone that did that, or I used to study that. I'm fascinated by that, but try and turn the tables on them. I literally have that in my notes here about turning the tables. I want you to talk about that in one more second. That's awesome. That's exactly what it is. Just stop it from being this intimidating thing and talk to them like they're your best friend or a really trusted colleague. I'll write on a notebook someone's name, like my best friend Jacqueline, and I'll take my notebook and I'll have it open, and every now and then I'll see her name and I'll just relax, sit back, and realize that's the type of tone. We'll get into tone and all that, but that's what you should be doing. You should be relaxing and just being yourself. It starts from the very beginning, the first phone call, first anything. You are a startup. This is your service. This is what you're providing. Okay, so one way that you can switch this fear-based narrative, which is the bad what ifs, to a positive what if. So here's an example of a negative what if. What if I make a mistake and they will not see my true potential? Anyone felt that one? Like every day, right? So how do we switch that around and say, well, one, the positive what if there is, what if I make a mistake and they're cool with it? Because everyone makes mistakes. What if I'm cool with it first and I manage those expectations that, you know what, I'm human, I make mistakes, but you know what, no one's going to make it better faster than I am. No one's going to make it right or work harder to make things right faster than I will. And I will make processes that will attempt to prevent those from happening. Again, attempt. It's all in the way that we speak that will mitigate that risk in the future of that thing happening, right? Then the positive what if is, what if I make a mistake and they're supportive? What if I don't make a mistake and I'm awesome and they love it? Like, how do you take these negative what ifs and make them positive what ifs? In this, I've also changed it to the narrative, which is, what if I make a mistake and they do not see my full potential? And this is something you do in an interview. You're always worried what you're going to say. And I am human. I am infallible. If I make a mistake, I will use my experience and I forgive myself first. I will create processes that will help prevent it from happening again. So I would love for you guys to take this away as an exercise. This is actually something I have, the Influential Assistant is actually a course that I have in the officials. And in this, you get a workbook where you walk through these things and you create these new narratives for yourself and like literally cut them out. Or tape them in the front of your notebook, write them in the front of your notebook so that when you have a tough day, that you go back and say, okay, let's do the what if exercise. Or put a Post-it on your laptop or on your computer that just says positive what ifs. Change it to a positive what if, something until it becomes a habit, okay? This is one way you're gonna gain your confidence. Okay, so we all get imposter syndrome, right? Who gets imposter syndrome? Say I. Say me in the chat. I love this graphic. I love this graphic. Types of people who can have imposter syndrome. All the people have imposter syndrome. Well, you'll see in the next slide, it's actually 70% of people, but I actually think that is not true. I think that number is a lot higher. Studies show that people that have imposter syndrome are actually highly functioning people. Almost all of the major CEOs and influencers that have ever been interviewed about this all say they have imposter syndrome. So what is imposter syndrome? And as again, it's your own ability to not internalize your accomplishments. In the definition, it's telling you have accomplishments. Imposter syndrome is not actually you worrying that you don't have the skills. It's worrying that other people will think you don't have the skills. Do you know that? That's actually the definition of imposter syndrome. It's not your own self-doubt. That's self-doubt. Imposter syndrome is thinking other people are going to think you're a fake. Other people are going to think less of you. But really, in the definition, you have accomplishments. So when you're feeling imposter syndrome, one, you have accomplishments, so honor that. But how do you start to internalize? How do you combat this is what we want to talk about. I'm just going to say here, self-doubt will affect most of us in our lifetimes. It isn't something you can cure. It is only something you have to smash through. It's an invisible wall. It's these invisible chains. You think, whatever way you think about it, that's what it is. How do you bust through that to build your confidence? 70% of the global population will experience self-doubt and imposter syndrome. It is inevitable. And in fact, it's a survival technique. It's supposed to stop you from doing something scary. But we've evolved past coming out of our caves and being eaten by saber-toothed tigers or whatever the heck they can come after us. I'm not a history major. And so you have to think about, okay, this is my caveman brain trying to protect me, but I have to push through this invisible thing. I just want you to know that if you have imposter syndrome, you are in good company. The CEO of Starbucks has imposter syndrome. Maya Angelou, constantly talked about her imposter syndrome. Lady Gaga talks about her imposter syndrome here. So I will, I have these in the course as well. If anyone's interested in diving into this further, or you want these quotes, just ask Paul. I'll be happy to send, or say, huh, I want these quotes. I'll send them to you. I'll send it with the affirmations, just so you maybe remember that you are not alone. I've written 11 books, but each time I think, uh-oh, they're going to find out now. I've run a game on everybody and they're going to find me out. Isn't that incredible? And yet she seems so confident. Yet she still accomplished so many things because she pushed through it. There's a really great video by Mel Robbins called, look up Mel Robbins, M-E-L Robbins, and self-doubt on YouTube. And she talks about exactly how I feel. This is, if you're a member of the officials, it's already linked inside the course. But she says it so well, which is the only way to do it is to go through it. You have to come out the other side and do the thing you're afraid of and see that you lived. You actually did really well, better than you thought. And it's that progression over time, that gradual progression of having enough amazing experiences, of being confident, of being influential, of saying the thing that's on your mind, coming in with data to back it up, and having somebody go, amazing, you're right, we should do that. You have to keep pushing through the self-doubt to get the positive reinforcement. That's the hard part. The way to break through it is on the other side of it. So take it as a trigger. When you're feeling that anxiety and self-doubt, have that be your trigger to do it anyway. And Mel Robbins is awesome. Okay, so I'm going to put on here affirmations and quotes. Okay, and in my red pen, which is my action color. And now we're going to talk about actions. Okay, so as we said, the best way to go through it is to bust through it, to do it. The more positive outcomes you encounter, it's going to make it easier every time. You're still going to have it. You're going to have it forever, because it's you trying to be better. It's your brain saying, be better, be protected, make sure you're doing it the right way. And you got to bust through that. If you're in a place where each time you voice something and you're not getting you're not getting that positive reinforcement, you need to think about who you're surrounding yourself with. You need to think about where you are and how life is short. And for a fact, we know only that this is our one go. That's all we know. Maybe there's more goes around, I don't know. But we know that this right now is our one chance. That's at least what we know. So try and make the best of it. Surround yourself with the best people. Protect yourself, protect your energy, protect the life that you want to have. And you do that just by being yourself and doing the thing you want to say. Okay? How do you suggest we find inspiring people personally to us to follow on social media? Oh my goodness. Okay, so, well, one to follow me, because I literally just put up someone the other day who's a pelvic floor physical therapist. I'm so in love with her, and her and I are now chatting. But was just so inspiring that I share with people that that person that talks about your self-worth and how she helps people and how she's gone through the same trauma. She's her authentic self. Follow authentic people. Find one or two of your heroes and find out, do they have accounts? Follow them on social media. They will recommend people to you. Sarah Blakely is the first self-made female billionaire. She's a great person to follow and is constantly having imposter syndrome, talking about how she's terrible at things, and then also is like, well, you push through it anyway. She's unapologetically feminine and empathetic, and she talks about that all the time. She's a great account to follow. Ebony Bellhumor, does anyone know Ebony Bellhumor? She's the assistants list. She's amazing. I just love her. She did our remote assistant success course, and she is just someone that even I want to surround. Like I told her, I'm like, I have to have you in my life, because she raises the bar for us all. Like she's like, I can't explain to her. You got to go find her on Instagram and stuff like that. She's just amazing. So surround yourself with those people. If you want more, DM me on Instagram or hit me up at hello@, and I will send you a few people. Because I want to make sure I'm timely here. So take action. Make a list of accomplishments so you remember. Everyone, I don't know if everyone's doing this, but anytime anyone compliments you ever, you screenshot that shit, okay? You screenshot it and you save it and you keep it in your brag folder on your personal email. You remember that when you leave. You remember that, or make a notebook, start writing in it from the back. print it out, tape it in, whatever you need to do, and pull that out on your tough days. Pull it on the days where you're like, I got this big event and I got to, you know, you need to pump yourself up. Make a list of your accomplishments. Don't forget them. You need to be your own best advocate. And also self-care. You're going to come up with the best ideas to be able to, once you have this confidence and you've got the skills. So the part about this, so I'm going to make this a little bit fast. The other bit about the trust and building that consistency is training. So being in these webinars with BSN, joining something like the officials, or like going, Exec Tech is today, going to any of these trainings, always trying to optimize yourself. Google everything. If you're having a tough day, use that as a trigger. If you're feeling anxiety, Google it. What are you having anxiety about? What's my self-doubt about? There's a YouTube video on everything, how to figure out everything. We know this as assistants. We do this all the time. So train up, build habits. That's why I have Post-it notes everywhere, because they're building habits for me. Don't know how to build a habit? Google how to build a habit. This is how you will remain consistent. Manage those expectations in every way that you speak, so that the people around you know what to expect from you. Not only about like the project that's coming up that you're like, that's not going to happen in the time you think it's going to happen. Oh, it will. No, what I was just talking to someone the other day who said their boss had these 5 construction projects going on. And he was like, it's all going to be on time. Does anyone here ever know of a construction project that's ever gone on time? Right? Ever. Like, this person is thinking that a miracle is going to happen. And so you have to be a truth teller. You have to be your authentic self and push through. And if they can't handle the truth, is it the right place for you? Honestly, hopefully you can claw that back. And one way you can do that is by looking at leaders that you love. Who are people that you know, that boss, maybe it's a boss you used to have, or just a colleague, or someone on television, or some kind of influencer that when they speak, you just feel like you don't want to disappoint them. You want to do the thing. Even just they're a charismatic leader, start studying them. In our course, we talk about posture and tone and how to do all of that. We don't have time to really go into that today, but start looking at people that you just feel like when they talk, people listen and want to do what they say, and start mimicking them. When you're brushing your teeth in the morning, if you got to ask for a raise later, think about how they would say it, practice it, actually say the words, and it will eventually become true. Visualize it over and over and over and over and over again till your brain doesn't know the difference between the visualization and as if you've really done it. So it makes it easier to actually say the words in that way. And the other thing is self-care. So once you've got this confidence and this trust, this consistency that you're speaking the narrative, you've got the skills, you need downtime, because it will actually make you a better human being. You'll come up with better ideas. I have them in the bath. Where do you guys have your best ideas? Some people have them in the shower. Some of them have them when they exercise and go on runs, when they meditate, when your brain is completely devoid of anything trying to grab its attention. Me, it's in the bath. I come up with all my best ideas in the bath because I'm in there for 2 hours. Yes, I take 2-hour baths, not every day, right? But I have to protect that time. I don't get a lot of sleep. That's my one time to do it. And it makes me come up with the best ideas. So you can take them to your executive, you can take them to your company, because it's like mimicking sleep, where we put those synapses together. Everything we learned when we're sleeping, our brain starts running through these scenarios. That's what's happening when we're dreaming. And so when you go into these meditative states, whether you're running, whether you're in the bath, whether you're replicating what happens when you sleep, but in a more active way, where you can actually catch the thought that you have, where you can't maybe catch the amazing dream that you have. So that's what you're trying to get to. Right? Or right before bed, keep that notebook next to your bed. But just know that self-care is really important for your brain to get to that level, to be able to have those ideas and use them. Okay. So because of the time, I was like, I have so much more to talk to you guys about. We have it in our course, but I can't get into all of it today. But if you guys have any questions, please put them in the chat, or you know how to get a hold of me now. But that's my presentation for today about influence, and I hope you feel excited.
What can I say, Lauren?
What can you say, Paul?
I can't. I'm not gonna. There's nothing that I can add that is going to top that. So let's just put it out to everyone who's been watching. Let us know what you thought of that in the chat box, because I can see it blowing up already. Look at this.
Do you feel inspired? Do you feel like you can make a change today, that you can do just a little bit, something today that you want to influence someone on? Do you feel like you can just start to change that narrative a little bit?
Yeah, I think listening to that, I would be very surprised if people wouldn't. And what I particularly liked about this is that you don't have to be an assistant to kind of listen to this advice. This is for regardless of your job title, whether you're COO or whether you're reception or a salesperson or what have you. So it's fantastic.
That is so true. That is so very true.
You know, it's great information that can be used across the board. So I knew that this would be really popular from the bits and pieces that we've done already, and I knew that the guys here on the Business Support Network were going to love it. If you liked what you've heard from Lauren today, Lauren is going to be joining us at the Virtual Assistant Startup Guide next week, which I know everybody's excited about. And also, Lauren and I are kind of deep in conversation about doing bits and pieces of collaborations across both networks as well. So hopefully we can be in a position where we can provide you guys with lots more info, both on our website, thebsn.com, and Lauren's as well at Join the Officials. So it's been great. Lauren, have you enjoyed it?
I'm like all revved up. You guys don't understand, like, this is my source of energy, like, is talking to you. And like, anytime I come up, I'm known for like tech tips and stuff. Anytime I come up with any of those types of things, I just want to share them with you. But also, like, when I see people struggling with confidence and mostly confidence is what this is really about. You have to fix that first before you can get the influence part. You've already got the other stuff. It'll come. But when I talk to you and I hear your stories, so please reach out. It fills me up and gives me such joy. And I'm doing a photo shoot because our 1-year anniversary is coming up. So we're going to do a photo shoot for the launch of we're reopening the doors and everything. And I'm going to be like coming in there, like ready to box. Like, I'm so excited. You guys gave me so much energy. You were so great in the chat. So thank you so much, Paul, for having me here. We always have good conversations, and
always it kind of seems that each time we do these things, they just kind of get that little bit better and better and better each time. So there's definitely a big future ahead. So thanks everyone for joining us today. It's been great. Thank you everyone who's contributed, because without you guys, it wouldn't be possible. I've already got a screenshot of everybody ready to post up a bit later on. For those that you missed it, you can join Lauren next week at the VA Startup Guide. Information about that is all over our kind of social media and what have you. Lauren's website is jointheofficials.com, and look out for the Business Support Network. Our website is going live next week, which is the-bsn.com. So hugely exciting times ahead for everyone. So thanks once again. Thanks, Lauren. Great to have you.
Of course, and I'll send you those things to send out to everybody, the affirmations and the quote.
Fantastic. And we'll put those up in the group today. Thank you, everyone. Perfect. Have a great afternoon. Really glad you enjoyed it.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.